to Just Between Us, your 7th favorite source for the newest conspiracies.
If you told me Phantom was a little alien, like from Men in Black, I would believe you.
I believe that about anybody doing anything.
Okay, well that's
why we're the conspiracy
no,
channel.
You can't be...
So this week on the show, we're going to talk polyamory etiquette. And by we, I mean mostly Gabe.
For Autostraddle.com, I am recapping a show called Couple To Throuple. But regardless of that, it made me think of a lot of things about how people treat their thirds in regards to polyamory. So the show is basically about like two couples. They're not really monogamous, some of them depending various levels, but a couple, and then they're looking for a third. And that implies, I think, a bit of, like, in some ways it implies a hierarchy, right? Where it's like the main couple, they've been together for 9 years, they find this new person, that person is their third. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of a separate thing. But then the show kind of like molds together and is like, and then they'll become a thruple. And I was like, well, thruple is different. A thruple is like we're all together.
Right.
Like maybe we everybody has the same equal, or, you know, there's a bit more of like a thing going on there that's like with all three people versus like a couple and their third, I think. So like the thing that I'm seeing with the show and with a lot of people with polyamory is that they take the word polyamory, big umbrella, and then all these other things are underneath it, and then they say, oh, I'm poly or I'm not poly, or I'm non-monogamous or I'm monogamous. When it's like that's, so then people go, oh, we're compatible because we're both non-monogamous, we're both poly. But it's like, what version?
Of poly? Yeah.
Talking about the show and also in life, it's like, do you mean threesomes? Do you mean a triad? Do you mean that the third person is also, you know, non-monogamous and they have other partners? Do you mean that you see that person by themselves and your partner sees that person by themselves? Do you all three see each other? Where does everyone sleep? Whatever. And so like...
that's honestly my biggest question always is, where does everyone sleep?
You did ask me that. And so a big thing that I was thinking about is, I was like, it's hard enough to find one partner that you're compatible with, but it's another thing to find a partner that you're compatible with, that your partner's compatible with. And I don't just mean like polyamory compatible. Like I don't just mean like, oh, we all want the same version of polyamory, but like literally like in the piece I say, how many cats do you want? Do you like the beach or the mountains? Do you believe in God? Like any of that. It just comes down to, sometimes people are like, we're both poly, or we're all poly, or everyone's poly. And it's like, great, we'll like be together and there won't be any problems. But nobody is like, do you want to be with this specific person?
Right, because it feels like so needle in a haystack to find another person wanting that lifestyle that it's like, I'll take whoever I find first.
So they don't think of them as people. They think of them as like cute little sex toys. So if that person, and I'm sure there are a lot of thirds that honestly you guys should have a union, because it's like they're like, okay, so I'm being treated just like disposable, like the main couple, like if there's a fight, the main couple is like, you actually have to go because we have to work this out between us. Like it's just kind of this thing where I think it leads to people who are like the thirds in this situation feeling very dehumanized. And I think it's because there's this all or nothing view of poly where it's either a good time all the time, or people go, you think poly's all about sex and good times, but it's all just a lot of talking and lectures and work. And it's like, no, it can be both. We don't need to like scare people off, but at the same time, there are elements where I feel a little bit strange about, we're looking for a third rather than like meeting someone organically or meeting someone off an app or something and feeling a particular connection to this person. This is me being judgy maybe, but it's like when I see, there was like a couple that was, you know, those things on online, Meet Cute, where it's like, I'm sorry, are you guys a couple?
Oh yeah.
So
I eat that up.
I know, me too.
I love it.
So there was one where there's these two guys and the guy stops them. He's like, are you guys a couple? And the guys are like, well, kinda, yeah, we're in a throuple. We're two parts of a throuple. And then the guy was like, oh, like, how did you guys meet? And the guy's like, oh, he met my husband in a yoga class. And then we both together asked him on a date. And then he came on a date with us. And then we've been together for like a year and a half. And I was like, right, like he met someone that he felt a connection to. He said, do you feel a connection to this person too? It wasn't just like, oh, let's just find anybody. Mm-hmm. And maybe that's me, again, being like judgy or something. But
don't you think there are some people where their lifestyle and what they want is to not is to sort of have that role that's less intense and serious.
Oh,
Where
yes,
it's like
for sure.
dating a couple and like they are not the ones dealing with like the mortgage and the kids and
Absolutely.
all the things, and like there is like that sweet spot of like it's almost like the aunt of dating.
Yeah, definitely. But I think thruple is
Thruple implies something different. Yeah.
It was interesting on this show to watch the thirds start to realize that they're not being treated well.
Mm-hmm.
And to like there's one part where the two gay guys are fighting and their third is like sitting at a table and he's like, yeah, they kind of just forgot about me.
How does the etiquette change when it's not a throuple, but it's a couple and one person has another partner?
Right. That's like a totally different thing. And that can enmesh in its own ways, but like you also have to have boundaries based on how the other person feels comfortable. Your partner might be like, I really want to date this person. I like their energy. I want to hang out with them like at a park or somewhere where we talk, right? But then you're like, I kind of just want to fuck this person. I don't really care about talking to them, or like there should be a dynamic between each person, or if
no, but I'm talking about where
if they don't want to.
Well, yeah, like let's say we're a couple and then I start dating another person, and then it's Valentine's Day. How do I decide who I spend Valentine's
Everybody
Day with?
talks to each other, or or whoever cares about Valentine's Day.
But like, what if both people care? I mean, is there just like an element of accepting that like there's always going to be some tension and that it can never be like totally like evenly split?
No, or it doesn't have to. If both people care, then you get down to the nitty gritty. You say, what specifically about Valentine's Day matters to you? Is it dinner? Is it the daytime? Is it like that you want to take a picture for Instagram? Like what specifically? Because this is the thing, and this is what I talk about in the piece, is that the thing with polyamory is that it's embarrassing. And what I mean by embarrassing is that being in a relationship in general is embarrassing. Like talking to the person and like spelling out why you're upset and like saying the exact reason why you're upset about something, which you don't even want to admit to yourself. That's very embarrassing.
I don't find that embarrassing.
It's embarrassing to be like, sometimes you just want to have your little tantrum. You don't want to sit down and be like, I'm having a tantrum because X, Y, and Z.
But see, I don't have an issue doing that.
That's disgusting. Are you fucking serious?
Yeah, I don't find it embarrassing to like share my needs and stuff.
What?
I don't.
It's demented. That's fucking demented.
I have a bunch of other issues. I feel like you've gotten a lot better at like understanding that people have different experiences than you and different preferences.
Yeah.
But like in this one area, you just like assume everyone's relationship to romantic relationships is the same, but it's not.
You don't want to have to explain, every minute detail about why you're upset, but then you now have to do it to two people. So for example, if you're in that situation and it's Valentine's Day, you're like, hey, I really care about Valentine's Day. I've sat and reflected about what specifically I care about and why. Mm-hmm. And I think I really care about dressing up and going to a nice dinner and the evening portion. And I care because I just feel like it solidifies us as a couple. And, the other person could say, hey, so I thought about it and I really just care about like having, any time with you. It doesn't matter.
What if they have the exact same wants?
Then you fucking sit down and you figure it out.
But I'm just saying, like, I think
I don't know that happens.
Yeah, but I feel like this expectation that, like, you as the person dating two people will be able to, like, completely satisfy two people always if you have open...
Oh, sure, but you can't...
There's going to be issues, just in the way that there's issues in monogamous relationships.
Yeah. Or you can't, like, fulfill the needs of every single person, even in a monogamous relationship.
Right.
But, like, for me, the problem would be, it would be very hard for me to say, hey, I actually really care about this because some old trauma reason or something, or, like, I just want it. Like that.
Yeah, you're allowed to want things.
Yeah, very hard.
And allowed to care about things.
Right. So that's difficult for me. And so that's why I have a lot of empathy for people who are, like, are not meeting the expectation of like you have to be perfect in this sort of like non-monogamous situation. But I think the more specific you get, the better your chances. And also if you are a couple, I think getting specific with if you want to be a throuple or your third person, treat them like a full human being. They just have different wants and needs. You can't be like inconvenienced by that. I feel like I'm seeing, one of the things that I wrote was like, these couples seem upset that their fleshlights want to use the restroom or brush their teeth or take a shower. You know what I mean? Like, it's a person who's like, you got to still share the bathroom with them in the morning. Sorry to this man. Okay, so if there's like the red light doesn't change for long enough, that's a conspiracy?
Never heard of that, but sure.
I'm just saying, like, everything is a conspiracy?
Why not?
Oh my God.